Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hello.
We have depth of field for you. You've got
I
the
feel like that.
out of focus background. And how are you creating this
Yeah.
special
It's just a
environment?
Zoom background. You just put on like, I forgot what it is. It's
So if you
like
lift
a
your hand
stand.
up, it'll disappear, right?
No,
No? Oh. Cool.
Well, that looks very interesting.
She's going to look right now. She's going to try to find it.
No, I think Stephanie owns that. And oh, Chris, you little stinker. Look at Chris. Wow. Yeah, we should all do it.
I stared at, when I stare at my screen all day, like I needed a little doctor right now. It's like too much longer.
I think Stephanie owns that.
Oh, I see. It's a blur one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to take out my forehead wrinkles.
It's a blur. I like it. Can't see.
Wait, where are those? Hang on.
The things we do for fun. I better close my door because it's a blur. I like it. Can't see.
Michael got a haircut.
Thanks, man. Fun. I better close my door. What are we doing here? Who are we missing? We're missing Bart. Yeah.
Yeah. And Carol, new Carol, as I call her, new Carol is joining, but as a just as an observer.
Excellent.
Yeah.
A resident.
Hey, I'm having some problems with my laptop. I'm on my phone now, but I'm going to try and switch over in a little bit. So if you see me pop out, I'll pop right back in.
Got it.
Sounds good, Michael. Thanks for letting us know.
I'm having some problems with my laptop. I'm on my phone now, but I'm going to try and switch over in a little bit. So if you see me pop out, I'll pop right back in.
Oh, isn't that interesting? He kind of, what he says comes back about a couple minutes later. That's interesting. Hi, Carol.
That's going to be interesting. Hi, Carol.
If you're watching on YouTube, it's a little delayed. So maybe that was it, Michael.
Nope. Look who's making a special appearance on camera behind Jenny.
Like that.
In offices, making specials. Now we know.
Wave. Oops. Wave.
He's like, I'm out of here. All right. Let's see. Maybe I should text Bart to make sure he's coming.
Yeah.
All right, I'll ask him. Well, we can go ahead and get started. We do have a quorum, but I did text him to see if he's coming, but he hasn't answered yet.
All right. We've got a pretty full meeting. So I think I am going to just move ahead and get started and hopefully with the reminder we all had and that. All right.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. So let's go ahead, Lisa, if you
Okay.
would start.
Can all of our board and staff here give me a thumbs up? All right. This meeting is being recorded. Once President Brooks asked me to call the roll, indicate you are here, as well as give me permission to record by verbally stating here, permission to record.
Very good. I call the September 14th, 2021 Committee of the Whole meeting of the Glencoe Park District to order. Lisa, please call the roll and note the time.
Great. I'm just going to try to really quick send this new link to Bart. He said it's not working, so I'm going to copy it and send it on over. Hold one second. I'm not trying to be rude here. Paste. All right, let's see if that works. Okay.
And maybe Jenny, you could reach out. I don't know if you're able to contact him. You're usually pretty good at getting people on track if that's a problem.
I just sent him, so maybe hopefully that's good. Commissioner Boren,
Yes, permission to record.
Commissioner Kobe,
Here, permission to record, but we'll try and find a different laptop.
okay. Chair Brooks
Yes, permission to record.
at 7:03, and Commissioner Schneider's trying to get in now, so we'll say that.
So I think I'm just gonna wait just a second to see if he can't jump on, because we're down a commissioner anyway, so.
Take that one. Oops. I didn't want to start it. I'm going to just see, make sure. Copy link.
And I guess this gives Michael a chance to switch out his device too.
Yeah,
Oh, there he
you guys
is.
should just keep going. You guys should keep going. I've been here.
Got it.
All right.
Okay, I see Bart. Hopefully he'll be with
There he
us.
is.
Hi, Bart.
I don't know, my links, the last few times my links haven't worked.
That's weird.
I don't know
We'll
why.
make
but
sure we text them before the meetings from now on.
Yeah, when you text it, then that one works. All right, sorry for
weird.
the.
Yeah, Bart,
Wonderful.
I think Zoom had an update. So if you haven't used Zoom in a while, you have to update your software.
Okay,
That was my
I will
problem.
try that. Thanks, Michael.
So Commissioner Schneider, can you say here in permission to record, please?
Yes, yeah, here, permission to record.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Very good. So we will move on to matters from the public. It's our practice not to address questions at this time. However, we will take comments under advisement. Is there anyone who would like to make a verbal comment? If so, please limit comments to 3 minutes per person and indicate by the raising your hand little icon, and I will call upon you. And that's good too, a hand. Unfortunately, I don't know whose hand that belongs to. So man in blue shirt with lamp over his right shoulder.
Chuck Duffield, and can I ask everybody else to go on mute so we don't have little, you're not talking, to go on mute? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will limit my remarks to 3 minutes. My name is Chuck Duffield. For the last 7 years, I've served as the captain of one of Glencoe's 2 men's teams that compete in the Suburban Shoreline Summer Tennis League. Glencoe also has a women's team that competes on Thursdays. The men compete on Saturdays. Collectively, our teams comprise roughly 50 of the most avid tennis playing citizens within Glencoe. The league's been around forever, and it's a great outlet for friendly competition and camaraderie, and a way for new residents to meet people. On behalf of all of us, I would like to offer our sincere thanks to the Park District staff, Lisa, Chris, Adam, Shannon. They have been tremendously supportive of us for the duration of my involvement. They grant us an annual license to play. The Park District has updated its website so that new residents are aware of the league and know how to get involved. And they're also tremendously responsive to points we make about maintenance. So we're very grateful. Having said that, I'm here tonight, as is my friend Mike Cohen, the other captain, because we're concerned about the plan to eliminate one of the tennis courts at West Park. And first point, for us selfishly, we use all 3 courts at West Park as part of our competitive league play. We're concerned that if there are only 2 courts left at West, we don't know whether we'll be able to continue to participate in the Shoreline League, which would be a shame after 20 plus years, particularly given the relative importance tennis was given in the community survey. But more broadly, we're supportive of pickleball, but we don't think two courts is going to be enough for the community. We think a better plan might be to develop a nucleus of pickleball courts in the lakefront location, which is currently almost unplayable for tennis. But in lieu of putting 2 courts at West for pickleball, the community could potentially put 6 courts or more for pickleball at lakefront, which would potentially lend itself to, more revenue generating group classes, potentially revenue generating league play, and overall just support the camaraderie. So we know that the plans have been formalized, but we would respectfully request that these be reconsidered and the overall tennis and pickleball footprint be looked at holistically, potentially with the benefits of creating a nucleus of courts in one location or another, depending on the sport. Alternatively, we would ask that the board consider either a mixed usage approach as we have at Watts currently that would allow for the continuation of 3 tennis courts at West, or if space permits, adding 2 pickleball courts onto the current footprint at West, which consists of 3 tennis courts. Thank you very much for your consideration. I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Yes, thank you so much for your comments, Chuck. And I saw your name for a second and you've got your hand up. Yes, sir, go ahead. Patty, Mike.
That'd be Mike and Patty.
Yes.
Mike, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Mike. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, Patty, yeah, because most of the time we use Zoom for family matters and not the village matters. And I agree with Chuck and that you've been very helpful and you've listened to what we've talked about. But I'd like to take it from a slightly different approach. The Park District has 14 courts. They list 14 courts, but 3 of them are really unplayable for competition or for teaching. And on a Saturday morning, we use 5 for shoreline and 3 for teaching generally. So out of the 11 courts, 8 of them are already spoken for. And if you take a couple for pickleball or even 1, there's hardly anything for the citizens of the village to use, unless they use those courts at the lakeside, and they're really just not very good. It's for fooling around maybe, but not for playing tennis. So I think the board ought to reconsider a little bit about pickleball. Pickleball's become a much more popular sport. Pickleball could use 6-8 courts without question. I would offer 2 suggestions. Either we do the lake, you either redo the courts at the lakeside and make them pickleball, or you redo them and make them playable for tennis. We're really not, we really don't care how you do it, but we're a little tight on courts now. This wasn't true many years ago, but it's becoming true now. I've lived in the village since 1970, so that's over 50 years. My wife grew up here, and tennis was never a problem, but it will be if you put pickleball courts in place of the tennis courts. The other thing I'd like to make is that a mixed use of pickleball and tennis is tough on the tennis players. On one tennis court, you can put 2 pickleball courts. And if you put 2 pickleball courts and 4 players on each court, you have 8 people on one court next to somebody perhaps playing a singles match. Well, it's noisy. I'm not saying it can't be done because certain park districts have done it, but it's not exactly the ideal situation. So I think the board ought to start to reconsider the place for pickleball in our community, and also remember that tennis has become more popular, and we do have a need. And there was plenty of courts at one time, but that they're tight. They're becoming very tight. So I just want to thank you for listening to what I had to say. I'm full support of Chuck. I'm the captain, by the way, of the white team, so I've got to field the team too. And we just need proper courts. That's what we're asking. I know that the Park District has been was willing to listen, and I know that they've been cooperative, and I hope that you'll be that way with this matter also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, are there any more public comments?
Oh, David Israel, I believe. His picture's not there, but his hand's up.
Okay,
David?
I don't see either. So go ahead, David.
Hi, it's actually his wife, Sarah. Hi.
Okay.
First of all, thank you for allowing us to make a comment. And I wanted to start by saying I appreciate all the work that Children's Circle has done with everything going on with just early learning in general, especially given times with COVID. And we've been a huge, huge supporter of them and so appreciative of all the work that's gone into it. So I know, Jessica, I see you. So thank you, Jessica, and thank you to your staff. I just wanted to take a second to make sure that we're paying extra careful attention to keeping our kids safe and making sure that the staff, especially the early childhood staff, has vaccines, and we're keeping our kids as safe as possible given everything that's going on, and especially with the new Delta variant and all the kids getting sick. So as parents and 2 kids in Children's Circle, we would really, really appreciate making sure that the staff in the school was vaccinated.
All right.
Okay, Sarah, thank you so much. And is there anyone else today for the public comments portion of the meeting?
I do not, I don't see any other hands up.
I do not either. So I think we will move on. It's a busy meeting. We're going to move to discussion on COVID-19 policies and procedures. Lisa Shepard, Executive Director, will lead that discussion.
Great. I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody see that? Oh, there we go. Hold, please. What happened to it? There it is. Okay, today we put a lot of information in the board packet tonight, and I know that the commissioners have read it and have actually called and asked questions. We also put our survey that we did to Children's Circle parents in the board packet for the board and the community to see the results. So I'm not going to go over every detail because, as President Brooks indicated, it's a long meeting tonight. So what we're looking for, oops, sorry, not fast here. We're looking for is direction on a number of district-wide policies for regarding COVID-19. And remembered, this is district-wide. Children's Circle is part of a larger organization, the Glencoe Park District, so anything that applies there also applies to all of our programs in relations to our policies here. So I included the policy. So the first question we have is, does the board want to advance a vaccine mandate for eligible staff and independent contractors for approval? The board was given policies, and I sent updated ones to you this afternoon. They're included in your board packet. It's just important to note that employees can be exempt for disability, medical condition, or sincerely held religious belief. Those exemption forms were also included in the board packet as an example of what we will be giving staff who request those accommodations. If an employee is unable to have a vaccine, the employee will be subject to a minimum of weekly testing, maybe more, depending on what the rate is in the community at that time. It's important to note that staff is recommending advancing the mandatory vaccine policy. So I throw it to the board or the committee to see if you have any questions regarding this and any discussion. And Jess and Bobby are here to answer any questions you may have on this one or any of these items coming up. Any questions from any board members? I can. No?
It's not a lack of interest. We have gone through the packet. We've had discussions. We have had meetings, and I personally, speaking for myself, I've had all of my questions answered and am no longer wondering about anything. So That's my perspective. I suspect that might be where the other commissioners are as well.
Okay, I
I'll
need,
echo that. You know, I read through this today. Lisa Shepherd, you and I chatted about some minor cleanup items, but I appreciate the one-on-one time that we had to walk through the issues.
right. I guess I just need a consensus to advance this to the special board meeting that will be held immediately after this committee meeting for approval. So that's what I need from you to move on.
Okay, so I approve advancing this to the meeting.
Excellent. Thank you.
Michael?
All right.
I'm trying to,
You need more than one person to advance it?
we're going to get a consensus if we
Yep.
can.
Oh, yes, I agree. Move to the board meeting.
Stephanie
Yep.
and Bart.
Yes.
Very good.
Excellent. Thank
Do you
you.
have what you need?
Yep, that's what I need for that one. Okay,
Very
we're gonna go to the next question. The next question we have for the board is, should children of close contacts be able to attend children's circle? So IDPH does not recommend that children be isolated from school based on a family member being in close contact with a confirmed case. They cited that due to the amount of time that children had to miss school and how rare it is for an individual to return to deposit cases. Can it happen? Yes, but they said it's very rare. Some other daycares have done that, and now they're backing off on that because they're seeing how much children have to miss their daycare program. It also is important to note it's not just like siblings of other kids in children's circle, but it would also be family members such as parents who are close contact from someone at work. It could be anybody from the grade school, another program that the participant has. So if the children's circle kids go to Tiny Dancers and someone in Tiny Dancers has it, they would have to then be pulled out of program. So it could really be a lot. And so citing how rare it is, the staff is recommending that we continue to follow the IDPH's guidance. We did break down exactly what we do in our program, the ages, the mask wearing, everything, and they still held firm to that recommendation. Do you have any questions on this?
I have no further questions.
This was one that we discussed. This was one that I had a harder time with, but I know the ramifications of the domino effect. And I also know that we have to also hopefully, rely on parents. We don't know what they're doing outside of the school, and hoping that they're being responsible in that sense too. So this was a hard one for me, but I stand behind the staff's decision.
It is important to note that the parents also agreed with that they would like to get in the survey, they would like to continue to follow the IDPH guidance. So that was the majority of the parents also agreed with that, 63%. Anybody else?
Bart, are you good with the IDPH rules as we've been following them?
Yes, yeah, I would like to continue that. I support the proposal to follow IDPH.
And Michael? Okay, Lisa, do you have what you need?
Yep, so seeing no policy change in that one, we will not advance that to the next board, to the board meeting. Okay, the last one we have question is, should teachers and children wear masks outdoors? The CDC states that the risk of transmitting COVID-19 outdoors is much lower. They no longer consider any outdoor contact to be considered a close exposure. They do recommend if you're in large, big groups, like at festivals and stuff like that, you may consider wearing them. Staff does not recommend mask mandate outside. We think it's very important for kids to have, since the risk of transmission is so low, to have some unmasked time for their social and emotional growth, and being able to see their teachers talk and other kids talk and smile. It's good. It's really good for them. So Jess, I don't know if you have anything to add on this one.
Nope, just what you said about them being able to see us, see our mouths. We've seen an increase in speech delays. We currently have 11 students in speech therapy, which is more than we've ever had before.
And Jess and the teachers are doing a fantastic job trying to get the kids outside as much as possible, as they can. We have ordered more fencing so that we can meet DCFS regulations and have children outside even more than we do now. So we are not recommending this. Any questions?
No, just the only comment I'll say is it seems like we are, for the vast majority of our policies will be in line with that of local schools. There's maybe one or two places where we slightly deviate, but it seems like the vast majority is in line with the local school district. Is that correct, Lisa?
That's correct, except where it differs for DCFS regulations for young children, but we do file IDPH, and so does the school district.
Okay.
So that's why it's a good policy to continue to follow IDPH, because those change regularly, and we can change in a dime and follow those also.
Yeah, I want to appreciate the efforts you guys are making to be consistent district-wide with our neighbors at D35, and of course consistent with IDPH and other CDC recommendations.
Okay, excellent.
Do any commissioners want to discuss it further or move this to the board meeting for a policy change, or are we good with the way it is? Bart, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with the way it is. I don't think we need masks outside, so.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yes, and as we discussed, if there is a parent who wants their child to wear a mask outside, the teachers are aware of that, and we'll make sure that gets done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm in favor of it because I really feel everybody, including the teachers, needs a mask break. It's really important. It's a very long day with little kids with that mask on. So for the teachers' sake as well. So this does not need anything further. You need nothing else from us, right, Lisa?
We do not.
Okay.
So as far as the COVID-19 policy changes, we have no other questions or recommendations at this time. We realize this is a hard situation, and it's ever evolving, and we're committed to keep on communicating with the parents of Children's Circle and of all of our programs. Communication, we know, is one of the biggest things that we can do to help with this. We did, when we did the parent survey, remind people that we do have an early childhood advisory group, and we had a lot of people, we're happy to say, put their name on that list to talk about this, and hopefully stay on and talk about other issues we have, so that we can continue to work with parents and communicate with everybody the changes that we're making in Children's Circle in our programs in early childhood. So thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions on that?
No, so we will move on. And by the way, for anyone watching, it may appear as if we're making quick decisions. These are not quick decisions. We have spent an enormous amount of time in discussion and reading materials, both provided by the district and others. And I think we came to this meeting very well prepared. So thank you, Lisa, for everything that the staff did in preparation for the meeting. And then we will move on to a discussion of the Glencoe Beach Pier materials. Lisa Shepard and Chris Liner will lead that discussion.
Excellent. As you know, we have the pier that needs to be resurfaced down at the beach, and we're planning to do it next spring. We brought the different surfacing and railing concepts for discussion to the Lakefront Advisory Group, and have some of their opinions. I don't know if Chris, you want to share some of the options that we have, and what we kind of did a little, put a dot by your favorite pier design, and get a consensus going forward. So I'll turn it over to Chris.
Are you going to see right now?
What was that?
Are we attachment 1 decorative concrete options right now, or no?
Yeah,
You're cutting in and out, Chris.
Your audio is pretty bad, buddy.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
All right, just switching between different pieces of equipment. So 1 second, sorry. So can everybody see attachment 1 decorative concrete options right now?
Yes.
Okay, so if you, as the board may remember, the last time we had Baird come out, they showed us like 35 different concrete finishes that they indicated had all the same level of performance. So where we kind of left this last was we know we wanted a concrete cap because we know we wanted the performance against what Lake Michigan had to throw at us. So as Lisa indicated, we took a couple of concepts that Baird refined for us with their landscape architect to the Lakefront Advisory Committee, and we wanted to seek the committee's feedback. So first off, we have attachment 1, decorative concrete options. This received the least votes from the Lakefront Advisory Committee with a total of 0 votes. So the next option we have here, can everybody see figure 2, option B?
Yes.
This received 4 votes from the Lakefront Advisory Committee, which was the most votes. No one voted twice that I know of. And the third concept we have here is a red brick. This received 2 votes. The feedback for figure 2 was that it had some continuity with what we already have down there with the existing stones, the PVC walkway. The feedback that we got about figure 3, option C, was that it kind of had a matching downtown kind of feeling. So that was kind of where the committee was coming from with that. One of the things that went over really well was this embellishment here. This is a compass rose. The sailors in particular really liked this. Obviously, it's not a entire finish. We don't imagine putting out 80 or 90 of these things out on the pier, but just some kind of really cool embellishment that we could do at the end. So I guess the question is, do we want to talk about the surfacing and the railings as one subject? Because they are going to have a look when you compare them together, or do we just want to talk about the surfacing specifically by itself first? I would defer to Lisa Brooks on that.
Yeah, you know what, Chris? Why don't you introduce the railings, and then, okay, you know, the interior decorators on the board can render their opinions. Go ahead.
Okay. So can everybody see handrail attachment 2?
Yes.
Okay, so we had Baird provide us a couple of different styles of handrails. The direction that we gave them was, this is something for Lake Michigan. Don't show us something that is a decorative decking railing. We want something that's going to be resilient. So we had a number of different railings that we showed the Lakefront Advisory Committee here. We have figure 5. You can see all figure 6, figure 7, figure 8, figure 9, which this was cable railing. We didn't feel like this was very resilient. Figure 10, Galveston, this is in Texas. So what the Lakefront Advisory Committee settled on was really a dead tie between figure 5, which is in Indiana, which is made of stainless steel, and figure 8, which is again in New York, which is made of stainless steel. So stainless steel is the most resilient material. We won't have to go down the road of continually painting the railings like we do now. However, as the most resilient material, it is also the most expensive material. So it is likely that stainless steel will be above the original amount that we have budgeted. We do have some contingency for escalation in our project budget, which I included in the board packet. But with the increases that we're seeing in the market right now due to COVID and just general inflation, it's likely that we're going to see a majority of our projects coming back next fiscal year with the budget a little bit higher than we were hoping for. So I think it's important as we have this discussion about the resilient railings, knowing that we're likely going to have to set a little bit more money aside on this one if we want to pursue that option. Not outside of the realm of possibilities. I mean, this project is partially funded by an insurance claim via Paderma, so there are some funds out there that we can capture for this, but it's worth noting as we discuss it.
Okay, who would like to lead off with their personal preference?
If you were here in person, I would make you put a dot so no one could tell who is voting for what, but you're not here, so you have to, you know.
I like number 8. And I like the one that the majority of the committee liked.
That one?
Chris, you kind of were going in and out. So did you say only some of the railings are going to put us over budget, or any of the railings are going to put us over budget?
Well, that's a good question, Stephanie. At this point, we're likely going to see escalation on anything, but the stainless steel is going to be the highest amount.
And both 5 and 8 were stainless steel.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Chris. First of all, I've been talking about these railings for 6 years, so I'm
know, right?
deliriously happy that we're doing this because it's been a need for quite a while. One thing I noticed on the current railings that are no longer there it became a perch for the seagulls who would en masse go along there and then do their business, which of course contaminates the water that we then test, et cetera, et cetera. So I was wondering, are any of the styles of these less likely to provide a happy perch for the seagulls, like for instance, the rounded one? Or is that purely speculative? Who knows? Actually, 8, if you could go to, yes, I was thinking that might be somewhat less. Their little feetsies couldn't grip on the way they could to the one we had with a square, thinner top. Any thoughts?
Lisa, I would love to tell you that the round top railings could get rid of all the seagulls, but that would just be purely speculative. It's certainly a question that I can ask Baird. Anybody who, and I would defer to Bobby if you've been spending so much time around the ocean and boating facilities. Have you seen any railing types that seem to be efficient in deferring our little feathered friends?
I would be speculating, to be brutally honest. I have no clue.
Yeah,
I think Chris would have to go out and grease them.
Right off. And I'd imagine that the grease we'd pick would be like the attractant, so.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And while I have the floor, I will say I concur with Stephanie, which I believe is in line with the committee. And I think they're both very attractive.
Okay, so can I just clarify? Stephanie, you indicated that you liked figure 2, option B.
Correct.
So that's the gray, the imitation decking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Stephanie, was this your preference as well, the figure 8 railing?
Correct.
Okay, and Lisa Brooks, you had the same?
Yes.
Okay.
The committee, the advisory group liked that one too, because it's a little slanted. They thought maybe kids couldn't climb.
Okay,
yeah.
Michael.
Chris, you know what my question is going to be? How much more?
I knew it. We prepped for that question.
Could be double.
What is X and what is 2X?
We're probably looking at, in the initial cost estimate, let me pull it up here. In the initial cost estimate, we were looking at probably something around $35,000 for railings. So with escalation that we're seeing now for COVID, I would safely put that number around 45, something like that. With the stainless steel railings, I think we're probably closing in the 80s and 90s, to be honest with you.
That is a hefty sum. Are there other projects that we've recently completed that have come in under budget so that, overall we're not?
That's a good question. All of them.
All of them have come in under budget.
Yeah.
If you were to add up that all of them under budget, are we talking like an extra 45 grand that we can comfortably place here and not feel like we're, burdening individuals or projects?
Without putting John on the spot and getting out our adding machines, I would say that we could come back to the board with that in writing. I'm comfortable with that. I mean, I think from an operational standpoint, not having to paint the railings every year and have that additional operating expense, we're going to find in the lifespan of these railings, which hopefully, fingers crossed, will be 20 to 30 years. I think we're going to find that the stainless steel pays for itself. But certainly between the savings we had at Cog Park,
Okay.
the overlooks, the railings, I mean, I think we've made that number, that 45,000, but that's just looking at this in a vacuum, not looking at this with escalation in the Watts project.
No, I get it.
The Pure project. So I think, there's a lot that's out there right now for us that we really haven't had a chance to do a deep dive into with the board yet.
Here's what my ask is of you. and probably of John. So I'll put the work on John. If you can give me just a quick NPV on the maintenance versus the investment. I mean, you're gonna, you know how I feel. I'd much rather spend a little bit more in CapEx and have a little bit less in OpEx. But it'd be good just to see that on paper, make sure that we're thinking about this the right way. Because Chris, I could not agree more that I'd rather spend a little bit more now and not have maintenance or issues in the future. But it's good just to double and triple check that that's what's going to happen.
I mean, I can tell you it cost us about $8,000 to paint the railings the last time we did it with a contractor. So you're looking at 5 years.
So
5 paint jobs.
So you paint it. So you're talking $40,000 to paint it versus an extra $45,000 to put this in. That's pretty break even to me.
Yeah, it will be in the long run.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're looking at an amenity with a 20-year lifespan, and I'm not saying that in 20 years we'll have to do no maintenance. Lake Michigan can be really cruel, but I mean, over the term, you're looking at, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in painting versus, you know, an additional $40,000 up front in design and or construction. So,
sorry, where's the hundreds of thousands of dollars in painting coming from?
So basically, we're paying right now for a contractor around $8,000 to paint it. So that's every year it gets painted. We've done it in house the last few years.
It gets painted.
No, every year.
Every year.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Even Michael, even sometimes more than once.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the painted railings take a beating. They look awful. 2 months after you do it.
The beach rock ends up thrown against the railing.
Worth of painting versus $50,000 worth of investment now.
Right.
Okay. Well, John.
Also the time, you know, 5 years is not a bad payoff. And then also the time that it would be shut down or not being able to be used because people are on there painting.
Sorry, I thought you said you painted every 5 years, not there was a 5-year payback. So, okay. I'm on board. As for my preference, I just don't have one. So I will defer to the exterior decorators, Lisa and Stephanie on this one, and Bart.
Okay, Bart.
Just a quick question beforehand. So the surface is a separate stamped material that's added onto the base concrete. Is that correct?
No, that's a good question, Bart. So basically what's going to happen is if you've been down to the pier now, you see that there's like an asphalt layer that we used to have that nice plastic decking on top of. Basically, the asphalt layer is going to get removed. The stone underneath will get compacted. So we have a uniform depth because our asphalt cap right now, in some places it's 2 inches thick, in some places it's 6 or 8 inches thick. So there's not a lot of consistency.
Right.
We'll have a concrete pour. As they pour the concrete, they'll then stamp the finish on the top.
Okay.
And then based on what we choose, they can then stain that concrete. It's not a colored concrete. I'm not a fan of that because they never match in between loads. So it's a stain. You know, it's going to take it's a very caustic environment with the sand, with the lake. So, you know, it's going to hold up much better than the decking. You know, we may have to come back and restain it every so often, but we're going to have to see how that holds up.
Okay, good. You answered my question. So my point is, as I look at all the expensive railings going on to this, the big capital expenditure, I love the entrance that you created to Cock Park that we're hoping will last for 80 years. And as Michael said, I want durability. I want it to last as long as possible. And I would hope we are using the best concrete we can get. And I'll just make a 30-second reference. I was at Lake Erie recently, and there's a beach I go to, and there is about an 80-year-old concrete pipe that has like gravel built into it, and it gets pounded by storms probably 20 times a year, and there's no cracks. It's just there. It just lasts forever. I don't think you can get, and I see that with old sidewalks here as well. The new ones crack all the time. The old pieces seem to last and last and last. So anything you can do to get a higher quality concrete or add something into it so it doesn't crack, I would be in favor of. And I would take the same railing and the same, you know, fake wood kind of stamping. I think that looks good. I like this railing. So
Yeah,
I'm there for durability.
I apologize, Bart. I keep forgetting you're new to the board, and this is, it's not you, it's us. We've had these preliminary discussions about it and about the process for the pier itself previously. It's got to be a year ago now. So my apologies. I could have brought you better up to speed, but you asked the question, and probably good for all of us to be reminded of what Chris is managing down there. So Lisa and Chris, do you have the direction you need?
Yeah, I think we do. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you very much. That's great conversation. Good questions.
Thank you, commissioners.
All righty, so then we will move on to the update on final tax extension. Again, Lisa Shepherd and John, is it Kutera? Am I saying that right?
Cutrera.
Cutrera. I got to look at your name, Cutrera. Okay, John Cutrera, update on final tax extension.
All right, thank you, President Brooks, and good evening, everybody. So I believe historically we've just provided an update when the final tax extension is available from the county, which is what this memo essentially is doing. So just had a one-page memo here in the packet, just summarizing the final levy and how that shook out compared to the preliminary levy. And really it was exactly the same as the preliminary levy. So overall, our EAV did increase by a little over 5 million. And that really was a direct result of the new property increase of about 7 million, netted with an actual decrease for the old EAV of about 2 million. The tax rate actually increased from 0.621 to 0.648, and most of that is just a result of the new bonds that were issued last year. This is the first year that we're seeing them on the levy. So no significant change from that perspective outside of the new bonds being on the tax roll now. And just a little note that if we do receive 100% of the extended taxes on the 2020 levy, we would receive approximately $150,000 more than what we currently have budgeted for our property tax revenue. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, that pays for our railings right there. If we get 100%, so you work on that. Any questions on that?
Yeah, John, that change from 6.62 to 0.64-ish, can we go back and just recalc and make sure that, I think at least Stephanie and Lisa and I were here, and the rest of the staff were here. I think what we told people was it's going to be about, $35 to $40 a year increase per, I want to say like 600,000 or $700,000 or $800,000 of value. Did that, hindsight being 2020, were we correct? Are we on the mark there? Do we know if that hit the mark?
Yeah, the overall impact of just that particular piece of the levy, I'd probably have to take a closer look and report back. We do kind of go through an exercise where we identify what a sample tax bill would have looked like last year and what it looks like for the 2020 levy. We're close to uploading that onto our website if we haven't already done so. But there are additional factors that go into it, Michael, beside obviously just that rate in particular. You start with the valuation, the market valuation of the residence itself. And then the county, Cook County in particular, takes 10% of that. And then they apply a multiplier, which changes year over year too. In the prior year, that multiplier was about 2.9%. This year, it's 3.2%. So it's really hard to kind of exactly pinpoint, this is what it looked like. This is what it would have looked like last year. That this is what it looks like this year with all those other changing variables. But as far as just the debt service extension itself, I could take a closer look at that and certainly report back.
Yeah, it'd be good just to, again, I can dot my I's and cross my T's and make sure that we're in line with what we told that, when we decide to make the levy, what it ends up being. I'm sure it is. I just want to double, triple check.
Sure.
Any other questions?
Okay, so if,
Lisa, we're
yeah.
gonna go back and, because we skipped the capital projects update, and I'm just
Ooh.
assuming it's
Oh,
because
that's
no
'cause
one
Chris
had
was
any
involved.
questions. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, Chris. Okay, so we will backtrack to something, capital projects update. Lisa and the much maligned Chris will lead that discussion. Sorry.
Brian. Well, we put a list of our capital projects, Chris and our team has been very busy on different projects. So I'm sure you read the memo. We're not gonna read them all off. Does anybody have any specific questions they would like to know about any of the current capital projects that are underway? Well, see, we could have skipped it.
I have a question. I mean, it's kind of related, really not, but when are we turning the water off at Duke?
Oh, that's good. That's a good question. We have it in our board packet for next week, but we're turning it off on next Monday, correct, Chris? Monday, the 20th, because we saw a forecast for really warm weather this week. So we're turning it off next Monday. And then we are closing the trains on the Friday, the 29th of October. So right before Halloween, because technically, sometimes we get snow on Halloween. So barring any early snowfalls, we'll close it on the 29th.
Okay, and then I know you have in here, we haven't heard anything on West Osland grant, and I don't know if the gentleman that spoke on tennis is still on the phone, but just a comment. We heard you. We will discuss it, and things will depend on if we get that grant because we went ahead with that grant. So I realize that, we committed to that and we will see what happens with that. And also we are looking at Lakefront Park just to acknowledge that. We know that we're going to do work on the tennis courts, and I'm just acknowledging that that is in our plan and we're very aware of that situation.
Very good. Exactly right.
Anything else for capital projects? Any other thoughts or questions? Okay, then we will move on to other business. Lisa?
I have no other business. The only thing I have is to remind you that we switched our board meeting to next Monday instead of Tuesday. It's a very small board packet. Pretty much we're swearing in our new board member, which we're very excited about. So it'll be a short board meeting. Just remind you, it's on Monday. We originally intended to be at NRPA next week. We have all canceled that. We're doing that conference virtually. So we will still be in town. So yes, we didn't have to move it, but it's already published that way. So that's it. So we can adjourn and go into our special board meeting.
Thank you, Lisa. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Boren?
Yes.
Commissioner Kobe?
Yep.
Commissioner Schneider?
Yes.
And President Brooks?
Yes, motion passes.
Excellent.
Okay.
Go right into the board meeting, I believe.
Yes. And this is okay, so we will just hang on. All right.
Yep.
So you've switched the recorder. Are we good with that? Or started the recorder or whatever you're doing?
We're good to go, Jenny said. Yep.
Okay. All right, very good. Lisa, I guess you'll go through the see and hear part.
I do have to do that. Can our board and staff see and hear? Thumbs up?
Yes.
Members of the public? All right. This meeting is being recorded. Once President Brooks asked me to call the roll, indicate you are here, as well as give permission to record by verbally stating here, permission to record.
Okay, thank you. I call the September 14th, 2021 special board meeting of the Glencoe Park District to order. Lisa, please call the roll and note the time.
Commissioner Boren?
Yes, permission to record.
Commissioner Kobe?
Yes, permission to record.
Commissioner Schneider?
Yes, permission to record.
President Brooks?
Yes, permission to record. Okay, then we will once again take matters from the public. It is our practice not to address questions at this time. However, we will take comments under advisement. Is there anyone who would like to make a verbal comment? If so, please limit those comments to 3 minutes. And I'm going to assume that the comments were made in the first meeting. So that allows us to move on to action on employee COVID-19 vaccine mandate. I'm going to ask if there is any more discussion required by any of our commissioners prior to calling a vote. Okay. I entertain a motion to approve the employee COVID-19 vaccine mandate as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Very good. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Boren,
Yes.
Commissioner Kobe,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
President Brooks.
Yes, motion passes. Okay, very good. We will move on now to other business. Lisa, do you have any other business?
I do not.
Okay.
This is a record board meeting, I have to say.
I can't believe this happened, but yeah, that did go very quickly. But I think there was so much preparation.
It was. Yes.
Prior to this, that so much has been taken care of that we needed to take care of in order to make this meeting run smoothly. So that is why. On that note, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Boren,
Yes.
Commissioner Kobe,
I think he's frozen.
he froze.
Oh, he's just giving us a really awful.
There he goes. Michael, you froze. Can you give? Yes. Okay.
I did freeze, so I don't know what I'm voting on. What am I voting on here?
To adjourn.
Yes.
Commissioner Schneider
Yes.
and President Brooks.
Yes, motion passes.
All right. Thank you all.
Very good. Thank you, staff.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Have a nice night. Bye-bye.
Yes, you as well.
You stopped the recording, Jenny?
Yeah, was that meeting really 2 minutes?
Yes, it was. Yeah, you were. It's still recording. It's on live on YouTube.
Oh,
There we go.
that